Watch where you belong, diversity hire. Director Sanders flips his coffee mug, brown liquid cascading over Maya's pristine white blouse. The hot liquid burns her skin as he deliberately steps on her scattered presentation papers. Executive laughter fills the room while Maya kneels, dignity intact despite the stain spreading across her chest. Her trembling fingers send a quick text before security calls, confirming a special visitor's arrival. Little do they know, Maya's husband just cleared security downstairs, and he owns their parent company. Maya arrives at Pinnacle Tech Solutions' gleaming headquarters an hour before her scheduled presentation. The morning sun reflects off the glass building as she adjusts her blazer and straightens her shoulders. 3 months into her position as senior software developer, she still faces constant undermining despite her impressive resume and multiple patents. She rides the elevator alone, reviewing her notes one final time. The revolutionary security algorithm she's developed could save the company millions if implemented correctly. Maya knows her work is flawless, but convincing the executive team, particularly Director Sanders, will be the real challenge. In the women's bathroom, Maya practices deep breathing techniques her therapist recommended. "You belong here," she whispers to her reflection. Her phone buzzes with a text from Nathan. "Knock them dead. Remember who you are." Meanwhile, Director Sanders pours himself coffee in his corner office overlooking the city. Directors Thompson and Rodriguez join him, closing the door for privacy. "Our diversity hire is presenting today," Sanders remarks with a smirk. "We need to put her in her place before she gets too comfortable." Thompson chuckles. "What's the plan?" "Simple. We make it clear that her kind doesn't belong in our executive meetings," Sanders replies. "I've got the perfect way to make sure she never tries to rise above her station again." Maya enters the conference room with quiet confidence. She arranges her materials meticulously, placing water bottles at each seat and ensuring her presentation is loaded on the main screen. The executive team files in, exchanging knowing glances. Maya pretends not to notice as she straightens already perfect stacks of papers. CEO Davis enters last, nodding politely but clearly disinterested. "Let's make this quick. We have actual business to attend to after this presentation." Maya stands, shoulders back, voice steady. "Good morning. I'm presenting a proprietary security algorithm that will..." Sanders interrupts with a question designed to humiliate her, not realizing he's just triggered his own downfall. Maya recovers smoothly from Sanders' interruption. "As I was saying, this security algorithm represents a breakthrough in network protection." Her voice remains steady as she advances to the next slide showing projected savings. "Our data indicates potential annual savings of $12 million through implementation of this system." Sanders leans forward, eyes narrowing. "And where exactly did these numbers come from? Did someone help you with the math?" Several executives snicker behind their hands. Maya maintains eye contact. "The projections are based on current security breach costs multiplied by the reduction rate demonstrated in our 3-month trial." She advances to a detailed breakdown. "Every figure is verified by independent testing." "Perhaps this is a bit too technical for you to explain clearly," Sanders suggests, smirking at Thompson. "Actually, Director Sanders, the technical aspects are quite straightforward if you examine the data." Maya highlights key metrics on the screen. "Our current system fails to detect 23% of intrusion attempts. My algorithm reduces that to 5%. CEO Davis checks his watch, sighing audibly. The other executives shift uncomfortably but remain silent as Sanders continues his targeted attack. "Let me interrupt before you waste more of our time," Sanders says. "We all know why you're really here, and it's not for your technical skills." He emphasizes the last words with air quotes, triggering more laughter. Maya stands taller, continuing with facts and figures. Her phone vibrates silently in her pocket. She glances down briefly, a text from Nathan. "Meeting running late. We'll be there in 30 minutes. Thompson whispers something to Sanders, who laughs too loudly. The room grows increasingly tense as Maya maintains her professional demeanor, explaining complex security protocols with precise language. In conclusion, Maya says, implementing this system would position Pinnacle as an industry leader in cybersecurity while significantly reducing costs. Sanders rises from his seat, water glass in hand. I think we've heard enough theory. He moves toward the presentation screen, his expression darkening. Sanders approaches Maya with deliberate slowness, water glass tilting dangerously in his hand. Sanders stops directly in front of Maya, towering over her 5'6" frame. The conference room falls silent as executives watch with varying expressions, some uncomfortable, others anticipatory. Allow me to demonstrate what I think of your little project. Sanders moves suddenly, his body bumping against Maya's arm. The water splashes across her crisp white blouse, soaking through to her skin. Droplets spray across her presentation materials, smearing the carefully prepared handouts. Maya freezes, the cold liquid seeping through her clothes. Her breath catches as Sanders steps back with exaggerated surprise. Oh my, how clumsy of you. Sanders' voice drips with false concern. Several executives stifle laughter while others stare at their phones, avoiding the scene. CEO Davis frowns slightly. Perhaps we should take a short break. His suggestion carries no authority, merely a weak attempt to appear reasonable. No need, Sanders announces loudly. I think we've seen enough to make a decision. He turns to Maya, who stands perfectly still despite the growing stain across her chest. Clean yourself up. The adults need to talk business now. Maya takes a measured breath, calculating her next move. From the corner of her eye, she notices Director Rodriguez angling his phone discreetly beneath the table, recording the incident while pretending to check messages. I'd like to finish my presentation, Maya states firmly. The projections show nothing we can't get from a real engineer, Sanders interrupts, his voice cutting through the room. Now either clean up this mess you've caused or leave. Maya stands her ground. This algorithm is patented in my name. If Pinnacle wants to use it, I need to complete this presentation. Sanders laughs, the sound cold and dismissive. Patents? You think we can't work around whatever amateur code you've cobbled together? He grabs a stack of napkins from the refreshment table and tosses them at her feet. Here, make yourself useful. The napkins scatter across the polished floor. Maya feels her phone vibrate with an incoming call. She glances at the screen. Security desk flashes with the message, Mr. Williams has arrived, proceeding to conference room per standing instructions. Maya bends slowly to retrieve her soaked materials, maintaining her dignity despite the executive's stares. As she kneels, the conference room door opens silently, revealing a tall figure whose presence immediately changes the energy in the room. Maya excuses herself with quiet dignity. I'll need a moment to refresh. She walks out, back straight despite the dark stain spreading across her blouse. In the hallway, she pauses, taking one deep breath before proceeding to the women's restroom. Once alone, Maya allows herself a single moment of raw emotion. She grips the edge of the marble sink, staring at her reflection. A lone tear slides down her cheek before she wipes it away with decisive finality. This isn't the first time she's faced discrimination, but it will be the last time these men get away with it. She pulls out her phone and calls Nathan, her voice controlled and measured. They did exactly what we anticipated. Sanders just escalated to physical intimidation. Are you recording everything as planned? Nathan's calm voice grounds her. Yes. Maya adjusts the discreet recording device pinned to her lapel, checking that the red light blinks steadily. And Rodriguez recorded Sanders' behavior, thinking he was being subtle about it. Perfect. The satisfaction in Nathan's voice is evident. I'm 5 minutes away. Security has been briefed to bring me directly to the conference room. Remember, no one knows about our connection to Monarch Global yet. Maya breathes deeply, centering herself. I didn't spend 15 years building security systems for the Pentagon to be treated like this. Her voice hardens with quiet determination. They have no idea who they're dealing with. That's my girl. Nathan's pride radiates through the phone. Operation Accountability is almost at the fun part. Meanwhile, in the conference room, Sanders laughs with Thompson and Rodriguez. Did you see her face? Classic. She'll either quit by tomorrow or learn to stay in her lane. CEO Davis shifts uncomfortably in his chair. Sanders, that was unprofessional. We could face HR issues. Please. Sanders dismisses the concern with a wave. Who's she going to complain to? We control every department head. Besides, technically, it was an accident. He mimics stumbling, eliciting chuckles from his allies. Maya returns to her office, retrieving the spare blouse she keeps for emergencies, a precaution she's maintained throughout her career. As she changes, she reviews the company's acquisition documents on her phone, focusing on the ethics clause Nathan insisted on including when Monarch Global purchased Pinnacle's parent company last month. She smiles slightly as she buttons the fresh blouse. The trap has been perfectly set, and Sanders walked right into it. Maya checks her appearance one final time, straightens her shoulders, and heads back toward the conference room. Her phone vibrates with a text from Nathan. In position. Operation Accountability begins now. Maya returns to the conference room with composed confidence. Every executive looks up as she enters, surprise flickering across their faces at her swift recovery. She wears a fresh navy blouse and carries backup presentation materials in a leather portfolio. As I was saying before the interruption, she continues smoothly, the algorithm reduces security vulnerabilities by 78% while cutting implementation costs. She places fresh handouts at each seat with deliberate precision. Sanders exchanges pointed glances with Thompson. Their silent communication concludes with Sanders clearing his throat dramatically. We've actually decided to table your proposal indefinitely, he announces, leaning back in his chair. The board feels our current security protocols are sufficient. Several executives nod in automatic agreement, while others study their notes with sudden interest. CEO Davis examines his manicured nails, avoiding eye contact with Maya. Maya nods calmly. I understand. However, since I developed this while employed here, I should remind everyone about Pinnacle's intellectual property agreements. Her tone remains professional but carries a new edge of authority. Sanders's face reddens slightly. Are you threatening us? Perhaps you don't understand your position here. I understand my position perfectly, Maya replies, her voice steady. I'm simply clarifying ownership rights. CEO Davis clears his throat nervously. Let's all remain professional. Ms. Williams, we appreciate your work, but the decision is made. Sanders leans forward, resting his elbows on the polished table. Let me be crystal clear. Your project is rejected, and your future here looks increasingly limited. I suggest you consider your next career move carefully. The veiled threat hangs in the air. Maya notices the conference room door opening slightly. A security guard peeks in, making brief eye contact with her before nodding discreetly. Before we conclude, Maya says with newfound confidence, I think it's important to address the pattern of behavior I've experienced during my time here. Sanders laughs dismissively, looking around for support from his colleagues. And what pattern would that be? Maya reaches into her folder and removes a thick document labeled Incident Reports in bold lettering. The systematic discrimination that I've documented meticulously over the past 3 months, she replies, placing the substantial file on the table. Maya places the incident report in the center of the conference table. The substantial thud draws every eye in the room. This documents 27 instances of discriminatory behavior directed at me since I joined Pinnacle. Sanders scoffs, leaning back in his chair with forced casualness. Typical. Playing the race card when your work isn't good enough. This has nothing to do with cards, Director Sanders, Maya responds, her voice calm but firm. This is about professionalism, and creating a workplace that fosters innovation rather than harassment. CEO Davis reaches for the report, concern finally registering on his face. I wasn't aware of these issues. Sanders intercepts the document before Davis can grasp it. This is a desperate attempt to deflect from her incompetence. He shoves the report aside without opening it. I move that we terminate her employment immediately. Several directors nod in agreement, while others shift uncomfortably, suddenly interested in their coffee cups or the view outside the floor-to-ceiling windows. I believe termination would be unwise, Maya states matter-of-factly, especially given the evidence I've collected. Sanders stands abruptly, his chair rolling backward. He towers over Maya, using his physical presence as intimidation. Evidence? You mean your hurt feelings? His voice rises. Let me make something perfectly clear: you are nothing here. A disposable resource we no longer need. Maya remains seated, completely unfazed by his display. Her calm in the face of his anger only seems to infuriate Sanders further. Have you ever wondered why I specifically chose to work at Pinnacle, Director Sanders? Maya asks, her tone conversational. Sanders sneers, looking around at his colleagues for support. Affirmative action quota, obviously. Maya allows herself a slight smile. Actually, I had several offers, including one from your direct competitor paying twice my current salary. The room grows tense as Sanders realizes she's not reacting as expected. His usual tactics of intimidation aren't working. CEO Davis looks between them with growing concern, sensing a shift in power he doesn't understand. Have you ever seen someone underestimate a person who had hidden power or connections? Share your story, Maya asks, her voice steady. Sanders opens his mouth for another insult, his face contorting with anger. The conference room door swings open fully, revealing Nathan Williams in an impeccably tailored suit, flanked by two executives everyone recognizes from Monarch Global's leadership team. Sanders' words die in his throat as Nathan Williams enters the room. 6'3", commanding presence, custom Italian suit, instantly recognizable as someone who matters. CEO Davis rises quickly from his chair, recognition dawning on his face like a slow-motion car crash. Mr. Williams, Davis stutters, smoothing his tie nervously. We weren't expecting Monarch Global representation today. Nathan smiles politely, but his eyes remain cold as winter steel. Clearly not. I'm here on a matter of some urgency regarding your corporate culture. The two Monarch executives flank him silently, their expressions professional but unyielding. Everyone in the room recognizes them from business journals and industry events, Monarch's chief legal officer and head of corporate acquisitions. Sanders recovers quickly, corporate survival instincts kicking in. He strides forward with an extended hand and practiced smile. Director James Sanders, I lead our technology division. Whatever concerns you have, I'm sure we can address them promptly. Nathan ignores the outstretched hand completely, walking directly to Maya. His expression softens momentarily. Are you all right? He asks quietly. Maya nods, straightening her shoulders. I am now. Confusion ripples through the room as executives exchange bewildered glances. Sanders looks between Maya and Nathan, pieces of a puzzle he can't quite solve falling into place. Excuse me, Sanders interjects sharply, but this is a private meeting regarding an internal matter. Nathan turns to face the group, his expression hardening again. I'm well aware of what this meeting is about, Director Sanders. In fact, I've been briefed on every detail of how you've treated my wife since she joined your team. The word wife echoes through the suddenly silent room. CEO Davis pales visibly, gripping the edge of the table for support. Your wife? Sanders stammers, looking between Maya and Nathan as though seeing them for the first time. Maya Williams Montgomery, Nathan clarifies, his voice pleasant but carrying undeniable authority. though she preferred to use just Williams professionally to avoid exactly the kind of special treatment that might come with being married to Monarch Global's founder. Sanders' face drains of color as he processes the magnitude of his mistake. Rodriguez discreetly slides his phone recording into his pocket, eyes wide with realization. "This is all a misunderstanding," Sanders begins desperately. "A simple miscommunication that... Is it a misunderstanding when you deliberately spill your drink on an employee and tell her to clean up the mess she caused?" Nathan asks, holding up his phone showing a live feed of the entire meeting. The conference room falls into stunned silence. Nathan places his phone on the table, screen facing upward. The display shows multiple camera angles of the meeting room, every angle of Sanders' deliberate humiliation of Maya captured in high definition. "Allow me to introduce myself properly," Nathan says, his voice conversational yet commanding the room's complete attention. "Nathan Montgomery, CEO of Monarch Global Investments. We acquired your parent company last month, which makes me effectively everyone's boss in this room." Sanders' mouth opens and closes wordlessly, resembling a fish suddenly removed from water. CEO Davis grips his armrests, looking like he might faint or vomit, possibly both. "But more importantly," Nathan continues, placing a protective hand on Maya's shoulder, "I'm the husband of Dr. Maya Williams Montgomery, former head of cybersecurity for the Pentagon, holder of 17 patents, and the brilliant mind behind the algorithm you just dismissed without proper consideration." Maya stands beside her husband, her expression calm but resolute. The power dynamic in the room has completely inverted, and everyone feels it. The executives who had been smirking earlier now stare at their laps, avoiding eye contact. "I didn't want special treatment," Maya explains to the room. "I wanted to be judged on my merits alone. Nathan respected my decision to join as Maya Williams, allowing me to prove my worth without my connections or credentials opening doors. We designed this as an experiment in corporate culture," Nathan adds, his tone conversational but cold. "Monarch is acquiring technology companies across the country, and we needed to understand the internal dynamics before making personnel decisions." Director Thompson finds his voice first, though it comes out higher than usual. "This was all a test? You were spying on us?" "Not spying," Maya corrects firmly. "Observing. Everything was completely legal and documented. Your own security systems were used with proper authorization from your parent company." Nathan opens a leather portfolio handed to him by one of the Monarch executives. "What we've witnessed is deeply troubling. Systematic discrimination, hostile work environment, and today, physical intimidation." Sanders finally recovers enough to speak, his lawyer's instincts surfacing. "This is entrapment. You can't just..." "Actually, we can," interrupts the Monarch chief legal officer, placing legal documents on the table with practiced precision. "These are the ethics provisions from the acquisition agreement. They explicitly allow for culture assessment and immediate corrective action." Nathan turns to CEO Davis, who hasn't spoken since the revelation began. "As of this moment, Director Sanders and anyone who actively participated in the discrimination is suspended pending investigation." Davis nods weakly, unable to meet anyone's eyes. "Furthermore," Maya adds, picking up her presentation materials, "the security algorithm you dismissed will be implemented company-wide, potentially saving Pinnacle $12 million annually, as I projected." Sanders starts to protest again, his face reddening with a dangerous mixture of embarrassment and rage. Nathan holds up a hand, silencing him instantly. "Before you dig yourself deeper, you should know that we're not the only ones who've been watching," Nathan informs him. "The recorded evidence has already been shared with the board of directors, who are convening an emergency session right now." Sanders' phone buzzes with an incoming call from the board chairman, while security personnel appear at the conference room door. Within hours, Pinnacle's headquarters transforms into a hive of activity. Legal teams from Monarch Global occupy 3 conference rooms, conducting interviews with employees at all levels. Hushed conversations fill the hallways as news spreads throughout the building. The most common phrase whispered among staff: Did you hear what happened to Sanders? Maya and Nathan sit with CEO Davis in his corner office. The view of the city skyline contrasts sharply with the atmosphere inside. Davis appears shell-shocked. His earlier confidence evaporated like morning dew under a harsh sun. I should have intervened, Davis admits, staring at his hands. I saw the pattern but chose to look the other way. It seemed easier. Enabling discrimination is as harmful as perpetrating it, Maya responds without malice. Her voice carries the weight of experience rather than judgment. But acknowledging that is the first step toward change. Nathan reviews documents on his tablet, occasionally signing digital forms sent by his legal team. The board has voted unanimously to terminate Sanders effective immediately. Thompson and Rodriguez are suspended pending further investigation. Davis winces. This will devastate our leadership structure. Sometimes structures need devastation before they can be rebuilt properly, Nathan replies. Outside Davis's glass-walled office, employees watch as Sanders is escorted from the building. Security flanks him on both sides while he clutches a cardboard box containing personal belongings. His face is ashen, previous arrogance replaced by stunned disbelief. Several staff members exchange satisfied glances as he passes. In another conference room, Monarch's HR director delivers preliminary findings to Maya. Interviews reveal 17 other employees experienced similar treatment, she explains, sliding a folder across the table. Predominantly women and minorities in technical positions. Maya reviews the report, nodding grimly. This aligns with my observations. Nathan studies a parallel report. Class action territory. Legal is already preparing the necessary documentation. Davis, who joined them moments earlier, looks alarmed. A lawsuit would destroy Pinnacle's reputation in the industry. Perhaps that's deserved, Nathan suggests, his tone matter-of-fact rather than accusatory. But we're not interested in destroying companies. We transform them. Maya outlines their plan with methodical precision. Mandatory training, structural reorganization, and a complete overhaul of reporting procedures, plus financial compensation for affected employees. The cost will be substantial, Davis notes weakly. Not compared to the cost of continued discrimination, Maya counters. Talented employees leaving, innovation stifled, potential lawsuits, those costs far exceed proper reform. Outside the building, Sanders stands on the sidewalk, belongings clutched to his chest. Rain begins to fall, soaking through his expensive suit. His phone buzzes with a notification that his company stock options have been frozen pending investigation. Simultaneously, calls pour in from concerned colleagues and a growing list of reporters who've caught wind of the story. Back inside, Maya meets with the technical team to begin implementing her security algorithm. The same engineers who wouldn't make eye contact with her yesterday now hang on her every word. The protocol works by identifying pattern deviations rather than known threats, she explains, drawing diagrams on the whiteboard. This allows us to catch zero-day exploits before they can cause damage. A young female engineer raises her hand tentatively. This is brilliant, Dr. Williams. I mean, Dr. Williams Montgomery. Maya smiles warmly. Maya is fine, and thank you, but this is just the beginning. I'll need your expertise to scale it properly. Meanwhile, Rodriguez approaches Maya privately as she leaves the meeting. He glances around nervously before speaking. I recorded what Sanders did to you, he confesses, showing her his phone. I was going to send it to HR anonymously. I was too afraid to speak up directly. Maya studies him thoughtfully. Fear keeps many silent. The question is, what will you do now? I want to help fix things, Rodriguez says quietly. I should have spoken up sooner. In the executive boardroom, Nathan addresses the remaining leadership team. Pinnacle has tremendous potential, but cultural toxicity has been holding it back. Today marks the beginning of transformation, not punishment. One director raises his hand. What happens to those of us who didn't actively participate but didn't stop it either. That depends on what you do next, Nathan replies. Redemption starts with acknowledging failure and actively working toward change. Security teams sweep the building, collecting evidence and securing digital assets. IT specialists discover several attempts to delete incriminating emails, all thwarted by Maya's previously implemented backup protocols that the executive team had ignored as unnecessary. At her desk, Maya reviews messages from employees sharing their experiences. Many express relief that someone finally stood up to Sanders and his allies. Others reveal ongoing discrimination issues in departments across the company. Nathan joins her, placing a hand on her shoulder. You've started something important here. We've started something, Maya corrects him. This was always bigger than one company or one director. As evening falls, legal teams continue their investigation, compiling evidence for potential criminal charges. Sanders receives notification that his industry association membership is under review, effectively cutting him off from his professional network. As legal teams dig deeper into company records, they discover a hidden email server containing years of correspondence between Sanders and executives at other tech companies, revealing an industry-wide pattern of discrimination that extends far beyond Pinnacle's walls. 1 week later, Sanders sits before a panel of Monarch global executives and independent ethics officers. The hearing room's minimalist design offers no distractions, just polished wood, glass, and the weight of accountability. His attorney sits beside him, legal pad filled with hastily scribbled notes and increasingly desperate strategies. This hearing will determine the extent of punitive actions against Mr. Sanders, the lead ethics officer explains, adjusting her glasses. We've reviewed extensive evidence including emails, recordings, and witness testimony. Sanders attempts to appear contrite, his previously commanding presence diminished by the week's events. His custom suit hangs slightly loose on his frame. Stress has taken its toll. I acknowledge my behavior was unprofessional, Sanders begins, voice carefully modulated. However, I maintain that Dr. Williams Montgomery's deception created an artificial environment that provoked uncharacteristic actions. Maya, seated across from him at the long table, remains perfectly composed. No deception occurred. Ception. I used my legal name and accurate credentials. The only information withheld was my marital status, which is not required disclosure for employment. Sanders' attorney, a sharp-featured man with an expensive haircut, interjects. My client has an exemplary 20-year career in technology. This single incident should not define him. Nathan, observing from the side, slides a thick folder across the table. The sound of it moving across polished wood seems unnaturally loud in the tense room. This contains testimonies from 43 employees who experienced or witnessed discriminatory behavior from Mr. Sanders over the past 5 years, Nathan states flatly. This was not an isolated incident. The ethics officer reviews the documents, expression darkening as she turns pages. Mr. Sanders, your emails explicitly discuss strategies to prevent women and minorities from advancing within the company. How do you explain this? Sanders shifts uncomfortably, tugging at his collar. Those were taken out of context. We were discussing qualification standards to maintain excellence. Is that why you referred to qualified candidates as diversity burdens? Maya asks, quoting directly from his emails. Her voice remains professional, devoid of the anger she'd have every right to express. The hearing continues for hours. Evidence mounts against Sanders like an unstoppable tide. His former allies have distanced themselves, providing statements that further incriminate him. Thompson's written testimony proves particularly damaging, describing Sanders' systematic efforts to undermine minority employees. By day's end, the panel reaches their decision. The lead ethics officer delivers it without emotion. Sanders loses all severance benefits, stock options, and industry references. Additionally, the evidence will be shared with every major technology company in the sector. This panel finds your actions violated not only company policy, but potentially federal labor laws, she concludes. The evidence has been forwarded to appropriate authorities for potential further action. Sanders stares straight ahead, the full impact of his downfall finally registering on his face. His attorney whispers something, but Sanders doesn't respond. As Sanders leaves the hearing room, a small crowd of reporters has gathered in the lobby. A young journalist steps forward, microphone extended. "Mr. Sanders, how does it feel to become the cautionary tale for workplace discrimination in the tech industry?" Sanders pushes past without comment, shoulders hunched against the barrage of questions. Outside, rain falls again, just like the day he was escorted from Pinnacle. As Sanders slides into his car, his phone buzzes with a notification. The State Attorney General's office is opening an investigation into potential criminal harassment charges. 3 months later, Maya stands at a podium addressing the Technology Ethics Summit. The grand ballroom of the convention center holds executives from every major tech company in the country. Bright lights illuminate her confident stance, and cameras broadcast the event to thousands of industry professionals worldwide. The Sanders incident, as it's now known, revealed systemic issues that extend beyond one company or one director, she explains, her voice carrying through the silent room. Our industry has tolerated discriminatory practices for too long. Projected behind her, statistics tell a damning story: disproportionate representation, salary gaps, advancement disparities. The numbers speak volumes about an industry failing its diverse talent. Nathan joins her on stage as they unveil the Monarch Inclusion Initiative, a comprehensive program designed to transform corporate culture across the technology sector. The sleek logo appears on the massive screen, symbolizing the beginning of structural change. Companies that commit to this initiative will undergo thorough assessment and restructuring, Nathan explains, gesturing to detailed implementation plans. Those that meet the new standards will receive preferred partnership status with Monarch Global's portfolio companies. The audience watches a video featuring former Pinnacle employees sharing their experiences. Their stories, powerful, undeniable testimonies of systematic discrimination, fill the room with uncomfortable truths too long ignored. We've established a $50 million fund to support affected employees industry-wide, Maya announces, triggering murmurs throughout the audience. Additionally, we're launching mentorship programs specifically designed for underrepresented groups in technology. Across town, Sanders sits in a small conference room, waiting to interview with a startup. It's his 7th interview in 3 months. None of the previous 6 called back. The young CEO enters, tablet in hand. "Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Sanders," she says, sliding the tablet toward him. The screen shows Maya's live-streamed speech from the summit. "Sorry, but we can't afford to be associated with what you represent," the CEO tells him bluntly. The industry is changing. Back at the summit, technology leaders line up to sign the Monarch Pledge. Media coverage blankets industry publications with headlines proclaiming a turning point for diversity in tech. Companies rush to announce their commitment to the new standards, fearing both public relations damage and competitive disadvantage if they lag behind. Maya meets privately with a group of women engineers who thank her for her courage. Their expressions reflect both gratitude and newfound hope. "This isn't about revenge," she tells them, conviction evident in her voice. "It's about creating the environment we all deserve to work in." As Maya concludes her speech, her phone lights up with a notification. The first major discrimination lawsuit inspired by the Sanders case has been filed against another technology giant. 1 year later, Maya walks through Pinnacle's transformed headquarters. Sunlight streams through windows that once seemed to hold only shadows. The company has become the industry standard for inclusive workplace practices, with diversity at every level of leadership. She passes the innovation lab where her security algorithm has evolved into the company's flagship product. Engineers of varying backgrounds collaborate around interactive displays, their excited voices blending into a symphony of innovation. The product generates revenue that exceeded her initial projections by 23%. In her new office, the same one Sanders once occupied, Maya meets with her team of engineers. The glass walls symbolize the transparency now embedded in company culture. The atmosphere feels electric yet comfortable, collaborative rather than competitive. The quarterly numbers look excellent, she tells them, reviewing projected earnings on a holographic display. The Montgomery-Williams Protocol has been adopted by 7 more Fortune 500 companies this month. Pride radiates from the diverse faces around the table. These engineers represent the future Maya envisioned, one where talent transcends prejudice and innovation flourishes without artificial barriers. Nathan joins the meeting via video conference from Monarch's headquarters. His smile carries the satisfaction of meaningful change rather than mere profit. The industry transformation has exceeded our expectations, he reports. 83% of major tech companies have implemented our standards. Maya's assistant interrupts with breaking news. Sanders has published a public apology letter, acknowledging the harm he caused and committing to anti-discrimination advocacy. The statement appears genuine rather than performative, detailing specific wrongs and concrete steps toward redemption. Some people only learn the hard way, one team member comments, skepticism evident in her tone. Maya shakes her head. The goal was never punishment. It was change. If he's genuinely become an advocate, that's a victory for everyone. After the meeting, Maya and Nathan meet for lunch at the restaurant where they first discussed her taking the position at Pinnacle. The familiar ambiance feels different now, charged with accomplishment rather than anticipation. Do you regret it? Nathan asks, studying her face across the table. Putting yourself through that experience? Maya considers the question thoughtfully. The discrimination was painful, she admits, but exposing it created necessary change. Sometimes you have to experience the problem to effectively solve it. They watch a news segment playing on the restaurant's screen about the technology industry's transformation over the past year. Pinnacle appears prominently, cited as the model of successful reform. Would you have handled this situation differently? Let us know your thoughts, Maya asks, her gaze sweeping the restaurant. She turns back to Nathan. True power isn't about humiliating others, she reflects. It's about creating systems where everyone can succeed based on their merits. Nathan raises his glass in a toast. To fixing broken systems from the inside out. Maya clinks her glass against his. And to remembering that underestimating others reveals your limitations, not theirs. Maya stands before a graduating class of computer science students at MIT. Sunlight filters through the auditorium's high windows, illuminating eager faces representing the future of technology. Their diversity reflects the changes slowly transforming the industry. The technology sector you're entering is different from the one I faced, she tells them, her voice carrying to the back row without strain. But maintaining that progress requires constant vigilance. Projected behind her, statistics show the positive impact of the Monarch Initiative. Increased diversity hiring up 42%, improved retention rates across underrepresented groups, and even higher profitability for companies that embraced the changes. The Sanders incident sparked a revolution, but revolutions only succeed when everyone commits to sustaining them, Maya explains, pacing thoughtfully across the stage. Each of you will face moments where you must choose between comfortable silence and necessary disruption. The auditorium remains silent, hundreds of future technologists absorbing her words with rapt attention. Maya's story has become legend in tech circles, a cautionary tale and inspiration simultaneously. Your technical skills got you here, she continues, but your courage will determine the impact you make. Innovation thrives only where diverse perspectives are truly valued. After her speech, students line up to speak with her. A young woman with determined eyes asks if Maya ever doubted her approach. Many times, Maya admits, her honesty refreshing. Standing alone is never easy. But I wasn't truly alone. I had allies who believed in the same vision. Nathan joins her as they prepare to leave, several students recognizing him with widened eyes. They discuss their next project, expanding the initiative to financial and healthcare sectors. The work is never finished, Maya tells the students gathered around them, but neither is the opportunity to create meaningful change. As they exit the building, Maya notices a plaque being installed in the university's Hall of Distinguished Alumni. It bears her name and a quote, "Dignity cannot be taken from those who know their worth." Maya smiles at Nathan, squeezing his hand. "Not exactly how I plan to make my mark, but sometimes the path chooses you." "Remember," she concludes to the assembled students, "respect is not negotiable. Excellence speaks for itself, and true power lies in lifting others as you rise." The crowd erupts in applause as Maya and Nathan depart, their work far from finished but their impact already indelible on an industry finally awakening to its full potential. If you enjoyed this story of justice and empowerment, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to PAP Stories for more powerful narratives that inspire change. Hit that notification bell to never miss our new uploads.